Well, I've been over and bead blasted all the tap assembly, and look, that took quite a bit of cleaning up. I actually had to run a drill down through here to get that sorted out, but originally some of these taps had like a gauze around it, so I found a gauze off an old fuel tap, and what I'm going to do is sit that down there, and later on, before I'm ready to use it, I'll glue that on down there with a bit of, JB Weld or something like that. And so that still lets the reserve have fuel. So once you undo the tap 2 turns, it just draws off the reserve here. So what that will do, if there's any rubbish still in the tank, it'll let the plenty of fuel there so far off the bottom get into the tap, and anything sloshing around won't get down to the reserve part where I had to get a heap of rubbish out. So you may also notice this is the needle, and I took this needle over to my buffing wheel on the side of my grinder and I polished that up, and for tidying up in the bead blaster I just wrapped it up with a bit of insulation tape. And what I like to do with that is, that was the washer that came with it, and you'll see this over the back here. Now, instead of putting an O-ring, some of the new O-rings are a bit of rubbish. This is a piece of mop out of a brand new mop I bought a few years ago, and I leave it in Sunlight soap. Like, I have a little bottle of Sunlight soap that's all just a slurry, and I put this mop in there. And what that does for us is, if we take a couple of pieces of that and we wrap it around here in the direction of the thread, and we'll put a couple of runs of it there. And can you remember the old fellas telling you back years ago that if you had a leaky fuel tank, you put soap on it and the petrol wouldn't come out? So that's the theory here. So if I get the nut, bring the nut down ready, pop the tap in there, so we need to turn the tap in and then tighten this up. So by tightening that up, you can feel the drag on the tap there now, and by tightening that up you can actually feel that the difference that the gland packing makes. So you can see the tap's a little bit beaten up there with all the just old age. So I'll just get a little spanner and tighten that down, and that's all I'm going to do there. And that gives us a bit of, well, you can tighten this down so it tightens this. And if this tightens right down and the nut goes right down to the casting there, you haven't got enough mop in there. So go and put a bit more in. So that screws right down, so that's off. And no, I just haven't got the right spanner here. I had it over on the bench there before. I'll use my little fit all. These fit everything. So you can feel that's just getting a bit tight there. And you can feel the drag on that. So that's that bit done.